Now, the United Kingdom is having a bumpy fall. Was so bumpy, in fact, that new Prime Minister Liz Truss has announced her resignation. Liz Truss announced her resignation yesterday. Well, after only 6 weeks in office, precisely 45 days. Well, Ms. Truss's rapid fall from power came after she introduced Trussonomics, a plan for massive tax cuts aimed at Britain's wealthiest, and then reversed course and apologized for all the economic turmoil the proposal created. Well, the proposed mini-budget, which also included a rollback of corporate tax hikes and break in planned cost increases for national insurance, had sent the British financial markets into weeks of long tailspin. On top of a deepened cost of living crisis, Ms. Truss's plan sent foreign investors fleeing from the British economy, driving the country's currency to a record low value against the dollar. Meanwhile, the pound fell against the dollar this morning as new figures show the gloomy picture for the UK's economy. Of course, let's discuss this and understand what it means for the United Kingdom. I'm being joined by an investment and financial advisor, Mr. Gbenga Ogunriola. He joins us from the United Kingdom. Thank you so much. It's good to see you, Mr. Gbenga, after a while.
Thank you, Tolu. It's nice being here again.
Yes. Pound sinks as UK economy uncertainty rises. What is your reaction to this, and what have you seen, or what are you noticing after the resignation of Ms. Truss?
All right, thank you. So it's been a very turbulent week for the United Kingdom, capping up with a Thursday, that what happened yesterday with the resignation of the Prime Minister. It's been something that was not really unexpected because judging from what happened when the Chancellor, that was Mr. Kwasi, when he was asked or when he was sacked, it showed that there was some crack, in the government, and the events that built up eventually to the resignation of the Prime Minister were all something that were expected based on certain things that were already, dynamics that were happening in the polity. But unfortunately, it's not really a United Kingdom thing alone. It's something that has engulfed the entire world, whereby we see a lot of economy going down all-time low. For example, in the United Kingdom, the inflation rate is about 10.1%, which is about the lowest, or rather, which is about the highest in the last 40 years. But it's like I said, it's not just the United Kingdom that is having this kind of economic turmoil. This is the first time in a long while that the inflation rate will be a two-digit figure. Initially, when this whole economic issue started, it was estimated that by December, probably the inflation rate will be around 9%. But we are in October now, and it's 10.1%. So you don't know what happens before the end of the year. And the winter period is always a period where there's a lot of a lot of energy usage. And one of the major problems that the United Kingdom is having is the problem of energy, with the war in Ukraine and Russia. That has put a lot of pressure on the energy bills in the United Kingdom. And, the government tried to wade in immediately. They came in, that's the Liz Truss government, without doing so much of a simulation, because the United Kingdom is such an economy whereby a single basis point increase or decrease is very marginal, to the economy itself. And there was no simulation of some of those policies that they wanted to put in place. And because of that, it caused a lot of issue, which the United Kingdom is battling with currently. But like I said, it's not only the United Kingdom. If you look through Europe itself, Europe has an inflation rate up to date of about 10.9%, which is also very high. America is about 8.2%. It's only the Asian countries that will say that they've been able to keep their inflation at a low rate. Japan, for example, is about 3%, and surprisingly, China is about 2.2%. So the Asian countries generally have been able to keep their own inflation at a very low rate compared with the European countries. But of course, we know why the European countries are having this kind of bashing on their economy. It's because of the Ukraine and the Russian war. And it's something that we might not have seen the end of this. But what I would just say is that I think the United Kingdom needs to be more patient. There's nobody that is going to come in with a magic wand. I mean, it's something that we're already in, and they just have to realize that they're already in this. And it will take a process to come out of it. Nobody, whether it's, I mean, whoever is going to come in, nobody's going to come in and just, it won't be an El Dorado. It's going to be something that everybody will painstakingly have to bear, and eventually they'll be able to come out of it with the right policies in place.
Brilliant stuff there. Thank you so much for that understanding of the true situation on ground. But from the figures we also have from the Office of the National Statistics, it shows that people are shopping less at this time, you know, before pre-COVID-19 levels and all of that. And also the impact. Oh, let's talk about the shopping first. I see you nodding already. So how true is that? You're in the UK.
Yes, it's true. Everybody is trying to kind of cut costs. And, you know, one of the things about the UK is that there's a lot of consumptions here, you know. People kind of consume a lot of items, and, you know, there's a lot of indulgence in this place. And, you know, for organizations or companies that have seen a decline, you know, in the consumption level, it's automatically going to also affect their bottom line. And of course, that also talks about profitability and also talks about going concern of the organizations. So yes, it's true. People are trying because, you know, the cost of energy has gone up so much. And even though the government has tried to put a peg on it, but, you know, energy is relatively not just in terms of heating, in terms of the electricity itself, also fueling of your vehicles, you know. I mean, the government is not going to do anything for you on that. So people are already seeing the reality of things, and they don't know what's going to happen in the next few months. So they are being cautious, and nobody's just going to spend money on things that are not needed again, you know. Like I said, it's an indulgent economy, but now people need to regulate their indulgence and try to see that it's only things that are needed, you know, that is purchased. So relatively, that in itself, because the United Kingdom itself is an economy that is based on all these retail sales, you know, the retail sales aspect of the economy is also one aspect that gives government some level of revenue because they generate taxes through this medium. And since there's a reduction in that, it's also going to affect government taxes. And, you know, basically in the UK, the government relied basically on taxes. And if taxes is reducing, even in the area of VAT and, you know, and company taxes, then it's going to affect the cost of spending. So in a way, it's like, you know, the government being in a tight corner, the economy also being in a tight corner, whereby government's borrowing is on the increase because they are spending more, yet revenue is not coming because the taxes have, you know, has been reduced. And of course, we know that that was one of the things that eventually led to the exit of this government.
Let's now look at the currency crisis and what it means for businesses and companies, particularly those that will have to import raw materials and all of that. How is this going to affect them? A lot of, not looking good at all, a lot of negatives here.
Yeah, so the currency crisis, I think it's global.
Yes, it is.
Basically, I think it's only the US dollar that one would say has gained compared with most other currencies currently in the forex market. But basically, you know, the United Kingdom has a kind of self-sustaining raw material production kind of thing. There's a lot of recycling here, and you know, with that, they are able to sort out themselves in terms of raw materials and all that. So it's not really so much of maybe high cost of you know, getting raw materials into the economy. It's more of how valuable is the economy? When after production, what do they get from it? Those are some of the things that they are battling with now because the currency is low. So when you produce and you export, then what's the value compared with the cost of production and all that? So that's what they are battling with currently. But generally, in terms of currency crunch, particularly in terms of devaluation, or rather in terms of the currency falling to a very all-time low of almost 40 years. I mean, I can't remember seeing the dollar exchange to the pounds, at this rate. So it's something that is also worrisome. But I believe with the right policies and with the support of the people and also the support of the parliament, the politicians, because they come in very handy now. They need to understand that what the United Kingdom is going through is not something that was imposed by anyone. It's what they found themselves, and it's something that, because the world is now a global village, whatever happens in one place affects the other place. More so, this whole problem is in Europe as a whole. So it's something that everybody would just need to face and face the reality of it and try to cooperate to come out of this problem.
Interesting one. Now let's talk about the energy bills. I know you touched on it earlier. And UK is now borrowing some pounds to limit energy bills for households and businesses. Many would want to ask, how sustainable is this? Well, of course, considering what is happening around Russia and Ukraine.
Yeah, so one of the things I've kind of discovered that probably the United Kingdom, the Western world, particularly Europe, the US, and the United Kingdom need to do is really to learn from this crisis, to develop other areas and other regions of the world whereby they could actually fall back to when you have crises like this. One of the things that have gone well for China, I made mention of China not having so much inflation, despite what is going on around the world. I think their inflation rate's about just slightly above 2%, and you will notice that China have taken time to invest almost everywhere in the world. They have allies all over the world, and no single country can kind of hold China to ransom when it comes to their economy, because it's like they've spread their tentacles and they're everywhere. And it's like almost like countries rely on them more than they rely on countries, sort of, in quotes. So because of that, you discover that they are, when it comes to situations where there's a lot of economic turmoil worldwide, they are not affected as some of these Western worlds, like we are seeing in Europe particularly. If they are taking time to invest in places like Africa and the developing world, whereby they can now kind of move to them for help, or at least for a kind of a mutual benefit relationship at this point in time, they won't be facing this kind of crisis. But because most of their economic development had been centered around Europe and the developing worlds, then they are facing what is actually happening now. But if they would learn the lesson that, we need to also spread our tentacles and invest in other areas of the world, whereby when there's a problem, we can always fall back on those investments, then I believe that going forward, such crises in the future will not affect them. But how sustainable, going back to your question, how sustainable is this? Well, it does look sustainable for now, but we are just hoping that as they are looking for alternatives, that the alternatives also come very soon. Because if the alternative doesn't come as soon as they are expecting it to come, then it might be something that they might need to really buckle up again to ensure that things work out well. But after the winter, which is coming very soon, then the energy consumption drops again. So what we are looking at is their ability to really sustain what they are doing now during this period of, the winter is coming. So during the period of the winter and afterwards, I believe that the energy consumption will drop again, and probably there will be some kind of reprieve for the government. But globally or holistically, what they should be looking at, holistically, what they should be looking at is how to invest in other parts of the world so that they won't have this kind of problem or this kind of situation again.
All right, finally, in all of this, there's always an impact on market, FTSE, trading, and all of that in the UK. Take us through how this has affected trading and, of course, maybe investors' confidence one way or the other.
All right. So, yesterday when the announcement was made, the stock market here in the UK went up slightly. So that invariably showed that probably the market didn't react negatively to the news of the resignation. Rather, it reacted a bit positively to it. When I checked, the last time I checked this morning, it was in a negative. I don't know what it's trading currently, but not so much of a negative. So there's a kind of stability, even though the pound is still falling as at the last time I checked some few minutes ago. But holistically, I believe that the United Kingdom is a resilient economy, and with the kind of buffers that they have, they should be able to come out of this situation very stronger and better, learning the lessons, hopefully, and investing in other areas where they'll be able to fall back on when such situations happen, because it will always happen. These kind of situations will always happen. How ready are they? And what are the things that have been put in place to ensure that the kind of shock that the economy has gone through will not happen again?
It's a good way to leave it. I must thank you so much, Mr. Gbenga Ogunriola, who is an investment and financial advisor. He joined us from the United Kingdom. Thank you for making sense of all of the happenings in the United Kingdom as it relates to the economy.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure always.